Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, today we're going to talk about the importance of goals inside of a business. And, one of the big challenges for a lot of people, they kind of hear about goal setting and, sometimes they do it a little bit, but they don't really do it all the time. And the other great challenge is that, they're in a position that they're pretty satisfied in life. And, when all the needs are satisfied, then that's not exactly going to be a motivator of behavior. Talk to us a little bit about how you see goals inside of a real estate business and why they're so important to really maintain that level of performance.
Josh, I think it's a great thing to set goals, but the other thing is to consistently reflect back on them and make sure that you're keeping yourself accountable and actually following through with what needs to be done on a day-to-day thing to make sure that you actually hit those goals. Because I think most people set goals and then they're long forgotten 24 hours later. So I think with that, you need to, for most people, I think they need someone to keep them accountable with, maybe a mentor or someone else to, within the business, or someone that's, like a buddy up system that's going to help you actually make sure that you actually follow through with them and always reflect back on them, reflect back on what you've done previously, previous months, previous years, and have them in front of you that you obviously can always look at. And we always play with our goals every week on if we're going to smash through them. We then raise a bar higher. If they're too far apart, we might raise it, go down a little bit, just to make sure they look realistic. Because I think where most people fall short is that that they set a goal and with a month later they look at it and they go, no chance we're going to make it. Then they just totally forget about it, and then you're off track from there.
I think the big difference here is about the difference between goal setting and goal getting. And goal getting is about, okay, great, so now this is actually what I want to achieve, and it might be audacious and out there, but now I've actually got to make that decision to really go and hunt that down and make some much better decisions around how I do it. And, I kind of look at that like ultimately, you fight for your limitations, and if you're not careful, you actually get to keep them. And so you hear a lot of people that create excuses about, what they're going to do. But what I think is that like the longer term approach is much more important. If you think 5, 10 or, even 20, 25 years down the track, then let's engineer this back and then start to think about how that impacts on everything. And so there are a lot of things that you can't plan, but there are a lot of things that you can. And one of the things that I look at is that, if I look 25 years down the track and I start to think, okay, what do I actually want to be worth in terms of my net worth? What type of business do I want to create? What type of life do I want to have? What type of friendships do I want to have? What type of family do I want to have? And you start to answer some of those bigger questions, then all of a sudden the day-to-day work actually gets a lot easier, because you say, will this or won't this actually get me to where I want to go? So if I want to be in a position that, I've got a few houses and a couple of retirement properties and a couple of investment properties as well, and it can produce a good income so that, if there's a day that I don't have to work, that then things can change, then it really shifts that. And I think that a lot of people get stuck in distractions and procrastination and doing things that aren't actually going to help them to get to where they actually want to go. And we've seen this, that when there's like clarity, when there's a really unmet need, when there's that decision to actually go for it, that makes a massive difference. So what keeps someone like you hungry? Because there would be the perception from others that, you've already written, more in fees than what most real estate agents are probably going to write in their career, in the course of your 10 to 15 years in the industry. Why do you keep on wanting to do it? And why do you keep on wanting to get that growth? What is it about that keeps you so excited and energetic and hungry inside of the business?
I think, Josh, for a number of reasons, obviously to help our office grow, the guys within our office grow, obviously the more that we bring in, the more that that everyone in our office flourishes from. I'd obviously love to leave a legacy on being obviously one of the better performing real estate agents over the last decades, and I think it's just the hunger within that just keeps me wanting to do it. I suppose I'd be bored if I wasn't doing it, and I also like the fact that it's always challenging in the way there's always new competition, there's new technologies, that there's new ways of doing things. You can always get better, and we're always adapting and changing. Like what we do now was totally the opposite to what we were doing 10 years ago in the actual process of selling and listing.
I think that's the big thing too, is that like ultimately this is about getting back to that real clarity on purpose, in that, sometimes purpose is about family, sometimes purpose is about the person that you're becoming, and sometimes purpose is about who or what are you building. And, naturally that's a major driver for me about helping people to achieve their potential. One of our clients so far between January and the end of March has already listed and sold 55 properties this year, which is a phenomenal outcome. We got an SMS from one of our clients in Canberra, who this time last year in the first quarter had been been in a position that they were out there and they were kind of listing about maybe 4 or so properties for that first quarter. And right now they've just done 21 listings between January 1 and March. And so when you start to see that growth and when things turn on, what actually happens is that then you start to get serious about what's going on. I think that people worry too much about the here and right now and don't have a better plan for what's going to be happening ahead. And really that's the great role of mentors, is to get people passionate. And I say, what's got you excited? What's getting you out of bed in the morning that you're super compelled towards? And how are you in a position that you've actually got mentors and tormentors around you who are actually really clear about what it is that you want and that they're actually helping you to get there? And so one of the things that I did after a conversation with you was to say, okay, cool, I want to get a mentor in each of the different areas of my life. So I've got a mentor for someone around relationships, a mentor for someone on financials, a mentor for professional growth, a mentor for business growth, a mentor for spiritual life, a mentor for travel, adventure, creativity, health and fitness. And like each of those different people, some of them are in paid positions, but each of those people are in a position that they're actually helping me to get to that level of achievement. I think that when you make the decision that no one else is going to be responsible for your level of success, it fundamentally changes things inside of your business. Alex, what are some mini goals that people should really be thinking about to start to build that consistency on the path to getting the confidence to start to set some bigger ones that are going to pull them to a much better life?
Yeah, Josh, that's a really good question, because I think for anyone that's starting out doing 10 deals a year, 20 deals a year, or as an assistant, those mini goals are the things that I think that gives you really good structure in a day. That if the mini goals I did 15 years ago, Josh, I'm still doing now. And the way of mini goals is, I remember an accountability sheet that I would have on my desk every day, and I'd tick off the amount of calls I did, the amount of buyer appointments I booked in, the amount of appraisals I booked in. But more importantly, I think the number of people that went on your database that then now is something you can manage and maintain and build rapport and then grow off the back of that. And that's really still what we do today. There's nothing that's changed. It's those basics on a day-to-day basis that, I remember I used to have 5 accountability sheets, as in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'd do it. I'd reflect back on each day. I'd reflect back on the previous week. Was I getting better? Why didn't I do, 50 calls that day? I think, to me, that if you narrow it down and you cut out all the layers and all the noise, they're really the things that you got to be doing, Josh. You got to be getting in front of people. You got to be doing market appraisals. You got to be doing really good buyer work and building a database. Like, there's not much more that you can do in relation to like mini goals and starting out. And even for those guys that might be top performers that have dropped off a little bit because of lack of stock, go back to the basics.
And this is interesting. One of our clients at the moment, is really just starting to build out. He's got to his first ever month where he's at 9 listings in the month, which is huge for him, without an assistant, just an individual agent on his own. And, the number one breakthrough that we have this week was about the importance of him getting up a little earlier. And, he's been rolling out of bed at about 7:15 in the morning and really finding a bit of a struggle to get that momentum. And this week he's wound it back to 5:30. And one of the big things that's changed, he's really learned a lot about energy, about the importance of getting into the office. He said, I've been getting the office, and just that extra hour in the office in the morning has got all the admin done, has really got me to that position that now I can actually see putting on an assistant's going to grow my business. So get clear about what it is that you want. And, the great Usain Bolt quote, which I love here, is that, work for what you want. And that's like the ultimate thing that's going to drive you and pull you into that motivation and that momentum of what it takes to be a great agent.